Hi guys, welcome back or welcome to Dreamworks Switch to Life. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing Dreamworks' latest movie, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. First off, we're going to start with a spoiler-free review, followed by a spoiler-filled review later in the video. And, well, with that out of the way, let's get started.
It's time to go big!
Okay, so first things first, this is a very, very awkward movie. It's one of those movies where logic takes a back seat and I don't know, it's just really weird. Dreamworks definitely took a step down from last year when they were king of animation. This time, the animation looks great, but it doesn't look unique. It looks The character designs are also very simplistic and weird looking, not to mention the fact that, the stuff that they say in this movie is like really bad writing. I don't know why. It was a really great idea, but I think it was executed well, but it wasn't executed the best that it could be. And honestly, this movie, it's a great way to spend 1 hour and 30 minutes of your time, but I wouldn't go see it in theaters. It was really good, but it's just that good. It wasn't great, definitely wasn't perfect, far from it, and I just wait till this comes to streaming, either on Peacock or Netflix, whichever suits you. Or maybe just don't watch this movie at all. That's what I'm thinking. But there is one aspect of this movie that I really did enjoy.
The new girl.
The new girl? The new girl!
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. Chelsea wasn't exactly the best villain, but here's the thing. Her character design and her general attitude kind of reminds me of a couple of things. She is seemingly to be kind-hearted, gentle, loving, and everybody loves her, only it turns out that she is evil and wants to destroy things and doesn't care who gets in the way. And you know who that reminds me of? Disney, and her character design reminds me of The Little Mermaid. And I know what some of you guys are saying. Disney is a great movie company and they make tons of good family-friendly movies, including The Little Mermaid. And to that I have to say, you're right. But they are also a corporation that is focused on making money, which is why they also tend to make live-action, heartless cash grabs based off of their IPs, which includes The Little Mermaid, which was literally released just a month before this movie was. And to be honest, with the marketing that this movie got, I wouldn't be surprised if Dreamworks was like, we need to get this movie out as soon as possible just so we can laugh in Disney's face by having our movie released just a month after their movie and paint their movie as the main villain of our movie. I would not be surprised. This film definitely seems rushed and could have used a little more development. But I like that we got this movie when we did because DreamWorks is technically the anti-Disney, so there's that. But I guess it also explains why we have never even heard of this movie until 3 months before its release. I actually thought this movie was going to come out in 2024 when it was under codename Meet the Gillmans. I also love the music that they put in this movie. Not only the music that they wrote for this movie, that includes both soundtrack and singing vocal music, but at the same time, it also includes the licensed music that they used in this movie. Something that I did not like in the Mario movie, but I just loved the soundtrack that they used for Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. I also loved the voice acting. There weren't exactly any celebrities in this movie that I knew about, but the fact that I couldn't tell that there were celebrities in this movie was really amazing. That was one thing I didn't really like about the Mario movie. Everybody sounded like a celebrity. So now that the spoiler-free review is out of the way, I expect that most of you will be leaving. The movie has only been out for a week, so maybe save this to your watch later playlist for when you actually watch the movie, or maybe just click off right now. You can do that too. But for those of you who have actually watched the movie in the week that it's been out, or if you just don't care about spoilers, welcome. So let's talk about it. For some weird reason, I feel like if Luca and Turning Red had a baby, this would be it. And it's really easy to see why. For one thing, the main character is a female teenager who discovers that her mother has been lying to her and keeping a secret that she is going to one day turn into a really giant monster. It's a sea monster, and she happens to live in a town by the ocean where people actually hunt sea monsters. And unlike with Luca, where they actually had a cunning human-like disguise, this time they're with blue skin, so it's obvious that they're Krakens, and yet they lie to everybody by saying the following.
And remember,
If anyone asks, we're from Canada.
And people believe them. I mean, how stupid can a movie get? That's just stupid. And, well, I don't like that. It's obvious that they are Krakens, and they even know it. Ruby knows that she turns into a Kraken because she is a Kraken. Her entire family is made up of Krakens. And for some weird reason, she just doesn't associate giant Kraken that people fear with the Kraken that she is. So my first thing I would fix with this movie, make the human disguise part of the characters a bit more human looking. I mean, I do like the character designs for their human forms, and I also like their sea monster Kraken forms, but at the same time, it just makes zero sense why they would need to be Kraken both on land and in water and somehow still find a way to keep their secret identity from everybody. And while I would say that is the only annoying aspect, it's not the only bad aspect of this movie. For one thing, the love interest of this movie, Connor, he's a little bit shallow. We don't get a peek into his life or anything. All we see is just him being a love interest for Ruby Gillman. That's it.
Anything for my algebra.
You're what now?
I mean, bro. Algebra. Like, you're my brother. You're my math brother.
You know, I think I like the first one better.
And unfortunately, that is just the tip of the iceberg. There are tons of characters in this movie who I feel like just didn't get enough screen time. And the main issue is Ruby's best friends, the squad. I don't even know their names. They're hardly in the movie, and to be honest, I think that a really good aspect of the movie could have been that they just are upset that Ruby Gillman is ditching them for the new girl, the popular girl Chelsea, which she does in the movie, but they don't call her out for it. It would have been really cool to see Ruby be ditched by her friends for something that she can't explain to them without putting herself in danger. And they just can't understand it, and they forgive her when they find out why she hid it from them. This was a really great plot point in Turning Red, but unfortunately, I just didn't really see that in Ruby Gillman. It was literally just a case of, hey, what happened? Did you know Connor drowned? Into, oh my gosh, you're a Kraken? We forgive you for abandoning us. I abandoned you? I literally, just 5 minutes of that kind of relationship with them would have added to the friend squad so much, and it would have added a little bit to Ruby's character development. But unfortunately, it's like after she finds out she's a Kraken, everything takes a back seat. She doesn't hang out with her friends, even though her friends want her to hang out with them, and it never shows them calling her out for that. She doesn't ask Connor to prom despite it being what got her into this mess in the first place. It's like they tried to avoid the teenage part of her being a teenage Kraken. And with that in mind, they just changed it from her focus on her school life and her life as a human to her life as a member of a family of Krakens, and it focuses on her family. And to be honest, I can see why they made it so like Ruby is the main character, but this still feels like Meet the Gillmans. And while this movie does paint it so that Ruby Gillman is in fact the main character and the only one you need to care about, her family still gets more screen time than her actual teenage life, which is really disappointing. It would be a really good movie if she had to try to balance being a Kraken and a human teenager on screen, but she doesn't have to balance it. She just focuses entirely on being a Kraken and forgets her teenage life. I'm just happy her family was there to help her out by trying to work against the Kraken hunter. And to be honest, I can't remember his name. I think it was Jones. It would be funny if it was Jones, because I know his crab's name was Davy. Okay, never mind. His name is actually Captain Gordon Lighthouse, and he does in fact have a crab named Davy. But to be honest, I think he was a really good character, but I'm actually really happy with the way that the movie ended, with him kind of being more like an anti-hero who helped out of fear because of his crew was threatening to kill him because they turned out to be Krakens. And he kind of had a full-on redemption by apologizing on the internet about everything that he's ever said about Krakens being monsters. But I also really liked the B-plot of her family working with Captain Gordon Lighthouse to not help him catch a Kraken. I also actually like Chelsea's character, well, because it kind of threw me for a loop. I was sitting there thinking, okay, any minute now, Chelsea is going to turn evil and reveal that she is Nerissa's daughter, but then she revealed she is Nerissa's daughter, and it was more a case of my mother died trying to get the trident, and now I'm like, oh, okay, so she reveals it in an act of trust, but it's really a case of I want revenge against you Krakens for killing my mother and bringing about her death even though you didn't actually do it. But that wasn't the case either. The real plot twist? She was Nerissa the whole time. Yeah, it turns out mermaids don't age. And another aspect of this movie I loved, the lore. I love the fact that only the women in the Kraken royal family can actually turn into giant Kraken. And they have been the rulers of the seas for millennia, I suspect. But they've also fought off against a bunch of monsters, including leviathans and mermaids. I'm sorry, those are kind of the only two I can think of. But there were more. I just loved the action sequences of this movie, and, well, there's so much that I like about this movie, but to be honest, there's more that I hate about this movie, and it's mainly just that they didn't dedicate enough screen time to her being human. So, just to recap, this was a really good movie. I loved the animation. It wasn't unique, but it was still really high quality. There was some things I liked about this movie, like the soundtrack, the action sequences, and the lore of this movie was amazing. I also liked the voice acting. I also liked meeting the Gillmans, which does include Uncle Bree and everybody else. I also enjoyed watching the characters of this movie. It's really nice when Dreamworks makes some memorable characters, and this movie succeeded in that. And I especially liked the plot twist with the villain, even though we kind of all saw it coming. Really, my one complaint with this was the fact that it seemed a bit rushed, and we didn't get enough screen time dedicated to Ruby living a human life. In her teenage years, we don't get enough time where Ruby is hanging out with her friends. We don't get enough time where Ruby is going gaga for Connor, and vice versa. So yeah, a good movie, good way to spend a couple hours, but unfortunately, I just wouldn't recommend spending your money to go see it in theaters when you can just wait for it to come to streaming. But what do you guys think? Are you excited to watch this movie, or are you just going to skip it? Or if you've already seen it, what did you think of it? Did you enjoy it, or did you hate it? Leave your thoughts down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Subscribe if you want to keep up to date on all Dreamworks content. But until next time, I hope you guys are staying safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Oh, my cute little floppy baby guppy girl. You know what you need?
Great hair and a mermaid tail.
No, but it would help.